Hey folks, my name's Ed Travers. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of Christchurch-shelburne that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Today I want to share with you one of my favorite stories from the Gospels. It's the story that Jesus shares. It's the story about the rich man and the poor widow. The story goes that a rich man walks into the temple and he gives his offering. He gives his tithe, his 10%. And after he gives his 10%, he lets the world know how much that 10% was. He lets everybody that'll listen know how much that 10% cost him and how painful it was to give that money up. Then Jesus counters that part of the story with the widow that walks in. She walks up to the altar and she puts her 2 small copper coins in the plate. Jesus asks the question, who gave up more? Now, in terms of actual dollars, in terms of actual denarii, the rich guy gave up more denarii. He gave up more cash, more wealth, but she gave a greater percentage. And Jesus says this is what is best. To be like the widow, to give as much of yourself as you possibly can. She sacrifices. And in our giving, we are to sacrifice. I love this story. I love this story because what it talks about is that how much, dollar-wise, has nothing to do with the equation. How many hours you actually give has nothing to do with the equation. The physical amount of work you actually do has nothing to do with the equation. What matters is, did you give what you can? Not what the world expects, not what the world demands. Did you give what you can? Now, a lot of times in these videos that I do, some people will comment and they'll wonderfully, beautifully let me know who they are, where they're coming from. Oftentimes they'll tell me what their limitations are, how they don't feel like they're able to do enough. Today I want this video to speak to those people, because you are doing enough. When we do what we can, we are doing enough. When we feel God's call in our life to go out into the community, when we feel God's call in our life to provide for the people in our lives, to provide for the people in our communities, to provide for our neighbors, and we do what we can, that is a good and pleasing gift to the Lord. When our heart is in it and we do what we have the ability to do what we have the capability to do. When we offer of ourselves in such a way that we are giving what it is that we have, it is good and it is pleasing. In the end, it doesn't matter how many hours I was able to work. It doesn't matter how much money I was able to give. It doesn't matter how much time I was able to offer or how much sweat equity I was able to put into it. What matters is that I chose to do it and I did what I was able to do. Our world, the teachings of our societies often tell us that what we give should look like this. It should be like that. When it is good, it would look like that. When it is acceptable, it will look like this. And we buy that stuff. As much as we may tell ourselves, well, I did all I can, and that should be enough, and that should be acceptable, as much as we know that it is, those teachings are still out there. Those teachings have been taught to us from a very, very, very early age. And even though we know better, it may not feel like it. And we still have that inkling of guilt and shame because we feel like we've failed somehow. Nothing Nothing can be further from the truth. It sounds odd to say, but part of our mission here in this world, from a Christian perspective, part of our mission here in this world is to make God happy. I've always seen it from the perspective of, I want to make God proud. I want to work in such a way that God goes, Ed, nice job. Now I can do so much as a person my age, my height, my build, my physical ability. I can do so much with the time that I have and with all the other responsibilities that I carry. I can offer myself in so many ways reasonably. But I can't do it all. For a long time, I felt bad about that. I need to be able to do it all. I should be able to do more. I just can't. So I was working against that teaching that said, go, 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 do, give. And it should look like this, and it should feel like that. In truth, all I can do, all we can do, is give of ourselves what we can. And be thankful and be happy with what it is we are offering. And for those of us on the outside, we should do what we can to dismantle those teachings as well. That when somebody comes and they give all that they can, that we make sure they understand how genuinely appreciative we are. That they receive our sincere thanks. That they're invited back to give again when they're able. No one of us is going to change everything in this world that needs to be changed. And this world, as it's changed, it's probably not going to happen with one big, massive offering. It's going to be because I do what I can, and you do what you can, and our neighbor does what they can. Some of us will be able to offer a lot, some of us will be able to offer little. But so long as we are all offering 100% of what we can, the world will change. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray you'll pat yourself on the back when you do what you can. That you will recognize your achievement and you will recognize your work when you do what you can. And I pray you will show appreciation to those around you when they do what they can. Amen.